Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources.
Let me just do a quick introduction because I love the people that we get so blessed to be able to work with. I'd met Christina several years ago, and I love to tell this story, Andrew, about Amy. We were sitting at an event, we were getting ready to do an event, and Christine was going to help us present. And we're both talking to her before the event. And so we start this conversation, and Amy's like, I have all this stuff that I've accumulated over the years, and I've got to get after it. And we were saying the same thing. You know, we have all of our mother's stuff. My brother went into ministry, so he said, okay, you can have all my stuff. We had an aunt pass away. We have all this stuff, and we don't know what to do with it. And we were talking about how this is like a common story for all of us. We have stuff, and we don't know how to separate out what we really need and what we don't. And we were both talking about what a blessing you are, because this is what she does for a living and does it with excellence. So with that in mind, Christina Knowles, make space now.
Thank you, Carrie. Can everybody hear me back there? Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome, everyone. It's great to see all your beautiful faces today. Let me just get my notes in order here. Okay, everybody. So with a show of hands, how many of you have clutter that bothers you? And then, wow. No shame here. I've got clutter as well. I've got a stack of papers at home that I need to go through. How many of you are downsizing or considering downsizing over the next year? Excellent. Next month? Fantastic. Well, spring is a very wonderful time to declutter and start downsizing. It's starting to get hot out there, and we can put our time and energy indoors to make space now in preparation for the upcoming summer. You can see that there's a worksheet and a pencil in front of you. We're going to go over that together here in just a little bit. All right, let's get started. I'm a professional organizer, a certified senior move manager, and the owner of Make Space Now. And today I'm here to share a little bit about myself, my business, some before and after organizing photo projects, and also some before and after resettling and unpacking projects, downsizing projects with some senior clients that I've had over the past year. And we're going to go over the tips to downsize and declutter, and as well as the benefits of decluttering. So I'm going to go ahead and start my clicker here. The first picture, this is Charles. He and I are partners, and he's also part-time on my payroll. So when we have bigger jobs, he comes out and helps me out. This is part of my wonderful family celebrating a sister's birthday. And this is just a basic collage of me in Arizona and California. I grew up in the Northeast Orlando in Maitland, Winter Park area, and joined the Air Force back in '92, which took me to California. And after I got out, I eventually went to a junior college and became a certified occupational therapy assistant. After many years and adventures in California, I eventually moved to Arizona, where I continued a lot more adventures, especially taking advantage of the many beautiful hiking trails. And that's also where I met Charles. And in 2018, one of my sisters had some medical issues. And because of that and some other events that were taking place in our lives at that time, we moved back to Florida to help and also be closer to family. Working as an occupational therapy assistant, I helped patients of all ages in various settings develop, recover, and maintain the skills necessary for daily living and working. And my favorite population to work with was seniors. I just absolutely love them. If my patients were bedridden, I'd often have them organize their bedside table. And if they were mobile, they would organize their room. The act of organizing had a very calming effect, and they always seemed to enjoy feeling in control in a situation where they had very little power. They were very appreciative and also grateful that someone cared enough to help them with this. I've loved organizing since the military. They kind of built me down and to build me back up. And I found it to be relaxing. And I've always tried to incorporate that into my jobs. And then integrating occupational therapy principles with the art of organizing laid the foundation for my business, Make Space Now, which I created in 2020. In 2023, I joined the National Association of Senior and Specialty Move Managers and went through their curriculum to become a certified senior move manager because it felt right to return to my roots again of working with seniors. And NASM's website states, recognizing and managing the stress of downsizing and relocating older adults, individuals with special needs, and families is the hallmark of NASM. Senior move managers have significant expertise and resources and approaches that save money, reduce stress, and produce quality results. Here's a pic of one of my clients and myself, and I'm actually going to be working with him again on another downsizing project. So what does Make Space Now do? We help busy professionals with organizing and packing services and families of seniors with all the logistics of downsizing, including sorting and prioritizing the essentials, managing timelines, floor planning, guiding the family through the relocation process, working with the assisted and independent living facilities, as well as the 55-plus communities. And I'm going to show you an illustration that some of you may relate with. Does anybody recognize themselves in one of these photos or both? So about 25% of individuals with two-car garages can't park their cars due to the clutter. It becomes a storage unit. In 2020, the annual revenue for self-storage was $39 billion. You can imagine that's probably increased since then. I'll read you a few more. The National Soap and Detergent Association reports that decluttering can cut down 40% of the average home's housework. It leads to a reduction in stress associated with a disorganized living space. According to Sparefoot.com, which is an online marketplace for self-storage, 11% of American households, which equates to approximately 14.6 million, rent a storage unit at an average cost of $100 a month, and that's $1,200 a year. And with inflation, I'm sure it's a lot more. Decluttering is important. This leads me to show you some before and after decluttering and organizing projects. So this was a garage that I went into. They had the closet. They had the racks on the walls. But this was a very active family down in Melbourne Beach. Very active with the beach, with the surfboards and all that. So when they would come into the garage, they just pretty much dumped everything out where it was, and they always had difficulty finding stuff. And so they had a great framework to work in and simply came in, just put categories with categories. I zoned everything. So on the far right here, you can see that they've got their shoes, and all these bins have everything associated with the beach. And this is another perspective of the same garage, just tidied it up. And now it's very easy for them to come in, grab what they need, and most importantly, place things back easily. Who wants to waste time looking for stuff? You know, the sun is rising. You got to get out there to the beach. Nobody's got time for that. So here's the finished product. And last I was told, they're still maintaining it. And question for you. Does anybody have a garage similar to this? Yeah. Okay. We can help. Do you want to be able to park at least one car in your garage? We can help you with that. So we came in here. We got more bins. Again, they had the great structures and storage units, but we just added a lot more bins and labeled them. They didn't want to see their stuff, so we bought the black boxes and just labeled it correctly for them. And this gentleman was a shoe aficionado. Both of these people actually worked out of their house. They're hairstylists, and they're European. And he was a total shoe aficionado. And so all of this side right here is all his shoes. All along here and here. And so it's just a good setup. All I have to do is come out, grab it, and then go inside and then return it easily. And there's just another close-up photo for you.
Yes, sir.
Shoe storage. Yes. Yep, he loved his shoes. Here's a pantry, before and after of a pantry of a typical two-parent household with a new baby. Everything was a disaster. And this is just a typical looking pantry of many houses here in Florida. Small. And so what do we do with that? We just take everything out that you don't need, categorize it, and label it. Label it with big letters. So this gal wanted to be able to see clearly across the room what she needed so that she could also keep an eye on her little... And so that's what we did. And it ends up being that this whole entire shelf right here is just for the baby, all the baby food. So that worked well for her. Labels, labels, labels. Make it simple. Here's an example of a downsizing project. And this is a lot, but we can deal with this. This is probably a level 1, level 2 hoarder. This was a wonderful client that I worked with, and we worked together for months downsizing her. And with my services, I offer packing. The truck is taking debris removal from an apartment complex. So we have no problem helping you take all that stuff away. And we take donations as well, 5 to 7 bags of donations. We can also help with arranging donation pickup for you as well. And here is a recent move-in to an apartment in one of the ALFs here in Brevard County. Everything is simple. We like to be able to bring our seniors into a place so they'll be successful. They're going to live more confidently in the next chapter of their lives. And most importantly, they're going to be safe doing it. There's no coffee table there. They're not going to trip. So this is very clean, minimal. It's just what she needed. She was very happy with it. And then here's an example of a setup of a kitchen. Again, you've got your essentials. Most of the time when you move into an independent or 55 plus or ALF, you're not going to be cooking that much. So that's a big thing, is to really, really just think about what it is that you're going to be needing and what you're going to be able to leave behind or sell or donate. And again, everything was in easy reach. Let me go back to that. Everything is in easy reach. Okay, so how does decluttering benefit us? Now we're going to switch gears and go over the worksheet that you've got in front of you. Let me just find my worksheet. Okay, so we're going to go over the 10 tips to downsize and de-stress your move. Number 1, start early and end happy. And you were saying before, sir, you might be moving, downsizing next month. Is that correct? Soon. Good.
My scenario real?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay.
My daughter decides to move in with us.
He's going to sell his house to his daughter.
Daughter moves in with her 2 kids and 2 dogs and all her furniture. She packed up all my that I had in my house except my bedroom.
Okay.
That's where it's sitting. That was in January.
We can talk right after this if you'd like. Okay, very good. Does anybody else have a scenario? Thank you for sharing that, by the way. Does anybody else have a scenario where they need to downsize in the next coming months or even within the next year? Yeah, you're thinking about it too? Your mother and father-in-law what?
Moving to Ohio.
They're moving to Ohio.
So do you help people downsize
Yes.
for a move?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's what I'm here today. That's me. I'm a downsizer.
All right.
Yes, that's what we do. It's in our wheelhouse. That's what we love to do, is downsize and help propel you forward into the next chapter of your life. Because growing older is inevitable. Okay, it's a topic that we don't discuss a lot here in the United States. It's starting to really gain traction though, because of so many boomers, starting to downsize. And that's even a whole other conversation in itself. But start now is my biggest thing, my biggest encouragement. Even if you don't plan on moving, why not just start downsizing? Thinking about downsizing, do it. It's never too early to begin the downsizing process. I recommend beginning by focusing on typical problem areas such as the garage, the kitchen, closets, file cabinets. Papers take a really long time. Anybody in the audience, can you give me a scenario or share with us a room in your home that you could start downsizing today? Or even a drawer. Think about that. Which room in your home would you like to start?
Everybody.
Everywhere?
He said everywhere.
But
We have so much stuff in our house. We have so much stuff in our house.
yeah,
And we live close together. It just, everywhere, wherever we can start.
but we can start. So yeah, that's a lot of times it's so overwhelming. So I want to encourage people to gather friends, gather family, ask them to help you. Okay. And start, even if you're so overwhelmed that there's so much going on, go ahead and start in a junk drawer in the kitchen, or go ahead and start in a drawer or a linen closet, someplace easy so that you can get the momentum to keep on going. Yes, sir.
I came across another seminar. I said, budget 15 minutes. Set it off with 15 minutes and then do what you can.
That sounds great. There is a, oh gosh, I can't think of the method right now. There's a method where it's suggested to focus for 25 minutes. And I talk about this, and it's not coming to me right now. We talked about it at Golden Providers. Focus for 25 minutes, take some time away, 10 minutes, go back, focus another 25 minutes, take time away, repeat this 4 times, and then go ahead and take a break for the rest of the day. The number one thing is you don't want to get in the freeze state of mind, and you don't want to get overwhelmed with decision making. So I recommend doing that. 15 minutes is great. 25 minutes currently has been studied a lot, scientific data to prove that works. So I'm going to go ahead and start with number 2. And this is where you get generous. Since you can't take everything you own to your new home, now is the time to make arrangements to gift some of those treasures to special people in your life, including your family, helpful neighbors, friends, favorite organizations, or a church, synagogue. I'm working with a gal right now. They've already moved into their apartment, but she's decluttering and downsizing her home, clearing it out. And she's encouraging all of her neighbors. She can't have an estate sale because she's in a gated community, but she's encouraging all of her neighbors to come on over and grab the tools, grab whatever you want. A lot of times it happens that when you have already moved into a new place or you're planning on it, the momentum really picks up, and you will find, I promise, you will find it easier as time goes by to let things go because you're really already 1 foot into the next chapter of your life. Number 3, save your memories. You may have boxes of old photos from every holiday, vacation, and birthday party. What do you do with them? This is a big one. So there's professional photo organizers out there. It's a big thing, and I highly recommend you, if you want to go that route, because they really know their stuff. There's so many things that they can help you with. And if you do need any recommendations, I have 2 ladies that I know of, one here in Brevard County and one in Orlando. And so just consider that. There's some good things that you can do, like digitizing photos, or you can save them on a thumbnail drive, or you can make them into a book. So many things you can do with photos. And can anybody name another type of thing that maybe they could do with their photos, or that they've thought of or want to do? With a show of hands, anybody got an idea of what they'd like to do with their photos?
Good.
I know for me personally, I'd like to just update my photo books. I like to have my photos. I don't have a ton of them. I've helped people with 10,000 photos. No joke, 10,000 photos. Yes, sir.
We have a very valuable Bible that was started with someone in our family who had passed away.
Okay.
And we have other things too, but that's the one thing that I think our family would like. And nobody wants it. So
Pat.
that's it.
Well, thank you for sharing. That is an example of items where a lot of times nowadays, folks, your kids and your grandkids, they don't want anything. They really don't. And the value of your items, generally speaking, okay, there's and I could go on another speech about this in another time, but I'll just briefly touch on it, that a lot of the items that you have, they're not going to sell for what you paid for it. So just keep that in mind. The market is saturated with stuff. So with that being said, we're going to go on to number 4, which is new looks for books. If you own large quantities of books, you need to spend some time downsizing your collections because books occupy lots of space and they're very heavy to move. Consider donating your books to libraries or senior centers or sales to used bookstores. You can call on a book dealer for older books with potential value. And I'm trying to think here. I know that for sure the Suntree Library takes books, but just call your local library. Some do and some don't. And sometimes schools will take them as well. All right, number 5 is use it up, don't move it out. So what you want to do is you want to take an inventory of your canned goods, frozen foods, and paper products. Plan to use as many of these products as you can before moving. And if you simply have too many of these items, think about passing them on to a local food pantry. And there's many in the area. If you need any ideas, feel free to contact me afterwards. I can direct you to some that I'm personally aware of, but many churches have them going on. And with that being said, so use it up, don't move it out. Take an inventory of go ahead and fill that out. If you remember what I said, canned goods, frozen foods, and paper products. Okay, number 6 is going to be recycle your toxins. This is time consuming, and I recommend that you do that sooner than later. Give yourself 2 to 3 hours to take care of this because the for the most part, the hazardous materials need to go to Sarno. They have a hazardous waste dump there, or Cocoa. Those are the only 2 places that I'm personally aware of. If anybody else knows of another place, please share. And there's some things that you can do. You know, I've been told that, like with paint, if you have old paint, it's not necessary to leave. If you decide to move, it's not necessary to leave the paint behind for the new owner. It really isn't. You can, take a photo of it and give the photo to the new owner, but it's not necessary to leave the paint. Usually it ends up drying. But one thing you can do is go ahead and put kitty litter in it. This is what I've been told. I, of course, recommend that you take it to the dump, but apparently you can put kitty litter in it and then it'll just, coagulate. And then there's some other tricks of the trade. You can always look them up on YouTube. So as far as number 7, let's see. Don't lose touch. Okay. Create a list of people, places, and utilities, services that need to be notified of your upcoming change in address. That's also time consuming. Give yourself a lot of free time to take care of that. And do it in spurts because it can get to be overwhelming. I've helped many a client with updating their information in their phone with the USPS and also utilities. You're going to make sure you need to turn off the utilities and all that. So if you're going to be downsizing, think about who do you need to notify of your upcoming change in address. Go ahead and fill that out. And the next one, number 8, is space plan ahead. Most move managers can provide you with a customized floor plan for your new residence. I offer that service as well. A floor plan will help you determine the pieces of furniture that will fit in your new home and the best location for each. Knowing which pieces will fit into your new space will help you in the right sizing process. And it will help you determine the pieces of furniture that will fit in your new home, the best location of each piece, and knowing when you need to let go. This is really vital. I find that once people may be very hesitant and overwhelmed to move into an assisted living facility, an independent living facility, or a 55 plus community, any type of smaller home. And they tend to freeze up because they don't know what's going to fit. They want to bring their furniture, their big bulky furniture, but it's not going to fit. But once we do a floor plan, it gives you a framework to work within. And then people tend to get excited about purchasing newer items that will fit into that space. And that's all part of stepping into the next chapter. Number 9 is I would love for you guys to pack a survival bag. And it doesn't have to be anything, major, but the night before, you want to put together a survival bag for move day. Make sure it's got your medications or move your medications ahead of time. And it might, this bag might include things like eyeglasses, toiletries, change of clothes, important papers, and so on. Kitchen needs like snacks, drinks, folding chair for waiting for the movers to bring in their furniture. And maybe even a cleaning supply like a sponge or dishwashing soap. And what would you pack in your survival bag? If you were to go moving, if you needed to move forward and into another place, what is it that you would put in your survival bag? Anybody like to share? Absolutely. You can tell what's important, right? You got to eat. Eat and drink. And it sounds like you might want to, fly the nest just in case.
Folding.
Folding, excellent. Folding money because also you got to tip the movers. Can't forget the movers. What was that?
Flashlight.
Flashlight, excellent. Yes.
Yeah.
Coffee. Yes. All right. Lastly, we're gonna be at number 10 here. Ask for help. Don't be too shy to ask for help. Okay, moving is not easy, especially if you've been in your home for numerous amounts of years. You shouldn't do it all by yourself. But don't wait until the last minute to ask for help. Ask friends or ask family first, of course, then ask friends, neighbors. If you have a good relationship with neighbors, I always encourage my clients to ask their neighbors. And neighbors oftentimes really want to help. And then, if last resort, if you need someone, feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to help you make space now. Thank you, everybody. We're done.
I got one other question. We have a lot of antiques in our house that are over 100 years old. I don't know. Did you mention that?
No, antiques. That could be another topic too.
Yeah.
It's possible. Are you in a community where you could have an estate sale? No? Okay. All right. Well, so generally what I recommend, I don't do estate sales myself. I'm not an auctioneer, but I do recommend people that do estate sales. I know you can't in your situation. Auctioneers, people that can come into your home and tell you, what they believe to be the value of the price. And sometimes they'll come in and purchase all these items and sell them someplace else. Yeah. There's a couple of different solutions there. Some things that I can help with is just maybe help you identify what it is, or not. Obviously, you know what it is, but I mean, identify it online for what it's not what it's worth, but what it's selling for. You can use, if everybody may be familiar with this, but if you're not, Google on your iPhone or Android, whatever phone you have. If you open up the Google browser, there's going to be a microphone and a camera, a little lens, and it's called Google Lens. If you put your camera on the object of an antique piece of furniture, press Google Lens, it'll bring up, hopefully, the exact thing. And in many different pictures, it'll tell you what it's selling for. Okay, that doesn't mean that somebody's going to purchase it at that price, but it will help you identify and get an idea if it's even worth doing, because sometimes it's worth it. Sometimes it's worth not doing it and just letting it go.
Yeah.
That's something that I really encourage my clients to think about and to look at the pros and the cons.
If I had known that ahead of time, the original dressless chair that I had is worth $65,000 because the person had died.
Oh my goodness. Oh, nope. That's incredible. Yes, exactly. Any other questions or comments? Anything you'd like to share before you wrap
I
up?
got to do real quick. It's amazing. Before moving here 3 years ago, we were in a 2-bedroom resort condominium. We moved here at Palm Bay, got a 3-bedroom house and a garage, and things are organically growing. I don't know where you're coming from.
Actually, I do have one question for you because I found from Emerald Care Management that when you're downsizing, the opportunity to use storage space and pay for it, a lot of people go for that. And to me, that defeats the whole purpose. Do you find people are doing that as well?
That they're actually getting the storage space? Yes. My the gal that I helped, the hoarder, and she was a true hoarder. So in her case, by this time I was out of the picture. But I do know that she did get a storage unit. But I didn't recommend it, but I only recommend it for people that are either going to be in like a transition process. We're not keeping a storage unit. If you move to a place and you're going to be there, if you need to get a storage unit, just put a time limit on it is what I recommend. So you don't waste your money. But I do not recommend getting one unless you are a hoarder and you've got some, things that you're still working through. So in that case, I can understand it. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, guys. Thanks for coming. Hope you enjoyed it. And here's my information. I also have cards. Please, once again, take a look and go over through everybody's tables. And thanks for coming today.
All right. Thank you, Christina. Excellent presentation.
I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.